problem does Art Helper AI solve, right? Like, what does it solve, right? What is this product designed to do? And it's a really good question. And it's one of these exercises that like they tell you to, like, a consultant will come in and like bring into the company, and he'll go and interview everybody separately, right, on the team, and be like, what problem does Art Helper AI solve, right? And he'll ask a couple of questions, and then he'll sit everybody down in a conference room, and everybody will have a different answer. And it shows that you're like not aligned as a team, and that you don't really understand what the purpose of the product is. And it's such early days with Art Helper. I'm not sure that we would be there yet as an organization either. But what I've been thinking about a ton, and I love the conceptual of understanding what it is that we're doing, is, what problem does Art Helper AI solve? Artists, photographers, creatives have to do everything themselves. Nobody can be great at everything. You just can't, right? You can't be great at creating the art, and you can't be great at describing the art, and you can't be great at marketing the art. And almost no one is great at all those things. But that's why art, photography, creativity follows the power law, why the 0.1% are the ones that do so incredibly well. And then you're stuck in the middle with everyone else, because nobody can be good at all of it. You guys are a one-man band, you're solopreneurs, you're individual operators. And I sat there and thought about it. I was like, I'm going to go get an image that describes it. It's like, that's like trying to make it as an artist, right? Notwithstanding that David ends up beating Goliath, right? But it's like, it's David versus Goliath. I mean, that's what you're up against. Like, trying to get noticed, trying to get your art out there, trying to be discovered, trying to be seen. And so, those are really, I think, what the central problems, or at least getting to the core, getting closer to it, right? And who does it solve it for? Creatives, artists, and photographers. In short, you guys. And what's the impact of solving those problems, right? Like, getting to the crux of the matter. What is the impact? The art gets noticed. The art gets noticed. You guys have created these beautiful images, and if we can just solve the art getting noticed, I think we've got a tremendous thing on our hands. And the story of Art Storefronts up until now, we've tried to solve this a million different ways, right? And we got some solid wins along the way, but it all goes back to that central problem that artists have to do everything themselves, that no one can be great at everything, that there's only 24 hours in a day, that you're one-man band, you're solopreneurs, and you're individual operators. And I feel like AI has come along and just absolutely changed everything. We're in a moment in time, we're in a moment in the world where you don't have to be a solopreneur anymore. You don't have to be an individual operator anymore. You don't have to behave like there's only 24 hours in a day and you can only get so much. You don't have to constantly put off the tasks that you no longer want to do, that were on your to-do list, that you were dreading, that you wanted no peace to do with, and then it never ended up getting done, right? And, I think with AI, and specifically one tuned to suit your guys' needs, you can go from being David to being Goliath, right? And it's just, it's so exciting to me in that individual capacity. So we can get started right away on getting into some images. I'm going to pull up, where's Zoom, pull up the chat. How do I get to the chat? Grab somebody's Instagram, and we'll start processing some images and going in. Oh, wow. Got all kinds of you ready to be guinea pigs. All right, hold on, I'm copying. And somebody was asking me, like, Patrick, why are you constantly going from Instagram? I just do it from Instagram to show, one, to get like a huge variety of images, two, to play with a whole bunch of different real world situations, so I can continue learning what this thing can do. And then also, to a lesser extent, it's fun to make it more interactive. So these are totally not easy ones to describe, right? So let's grab a couple of these images. And I like the ones where there's a subject in it and you don't necessarily know who the subject is. I'll grab one more interesting one. Okay, let's grab those. All right, and so I'm going to grab these and I'm going to upload these into Art Helper. And for now, we're so early on the product. There's been a bunch of talk about, like, well, what size resolution should I do, and where else can I get the images, and can they import directly from my Art Storefront site? We're so early into this. Don't stress about that stuff now. Just give it the easy images and upload them, because the process is just so easy. We're gonna have answers to all of these things later on down the line. And so I know some of you guys have never seen Art Helper before, so I'm gonna briefly cover what I think is the first killer feature and that we've been doing just a ton of dev on. which are the instantaneously generated room mockups. And what Art Helper does by default is it automatically generates 3 of these for you in the default view. So instantaneously, it's nice to be able to just visualize your art on the wall. I really enjoy doing it. And then what we've done is we've added this additional module for literally hundreds and hundreds of room mockups. And this process, this thing has been moving so quickly in terms of the width and the breadth and the scope of the images that you guys want added in here. We're getting requests to how do you handle merch? How do you handle sculptures? How do you handle crafty type of stuff in here? And already, you know, there's hundreds of really good images in here that are great to go. Already you can type in and change the name of the furniture, you know, white chair, right? Or I could type in white furniture. And it will go through and it will generate, of course, when I'm presenting, there it is. You know, it'll give you a bunch of scenarios with white chairs. And I think they even have the room types in here now. We're getting updated so quickly that sometimes it's impossible for me to even keep my head wrapped around how fast it's moving. Yeah, so, you know, there's office scenarios. So you can instantaneously download these, which is just great. You know, boom, hit the button. It's downloading right away. It's on your hard drive. You're not rate limited to how many of these things that you can get. You can get as many or as little as you want. You can go back in, save them, do whatever you need to do with them, right? But what I think is already the fact that you can get room mockups that quickly with so little work is just a joyous thing. And it's when we get into the writing where it really has teeth. And I know some of you guys have seen my presentation already, but just on the notion of just giving it, it's like, you know, you start with an image, your guys' creations, what you've created, and this is an initial list of things that you need to do after the image is created. And this is an initial list of things that you had to do that would have taken forever. And now this notion that you have a team, that you're no longer a solopreneur, that you have a staff, you have robots working for you, if you like, really does just fundamentally change the game. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to work on giving this piece a product title. Okay, and I have custom rules turned on. I'm going to turn those off. I'll talk about what custom rules are in just a second. And you guys can throw questions in as we move along. I'll try to get as many answered as possible. And you can see by default, and I know I've gotten a ton of questions about this with like, how are we handling regular titles versus SEO titles? And I think it's an important one. And so you can see by default what Art Helper does is it gives you 15 titles. It gives you 5 short titles, 5 long titles, and then 5 SEO titles. Okay. And, you know, in this particular image, I don't know if there's any extra context that I want to give it. Maybe the artist in question can tell me if this is a famous person in the image or if it's just a random person or it's your mother or something, in which case it wouldn't give it additional context, but it might. But the visualization of this, okay, having all of this in this little left-hand window as you work on the title and as you work on the image is really staggering. And one of the things I don't think we've been totally clear about is, okay, so on the left, right, we have our image, we have our room mockups, we have our tags, and we have it displayed on the wall, right? On the right-hand side, yes, so Sandra says it's just a random person. On the right-hand side, we have the AI doing all of our work. Well, when we edit the actual image, and then we'll just get up from the start. And so right when it comes up, you can see edit details. When we edit the actual image and save this stuff in here, that gets recorded for everything else that the AI is going to do after the fact, right? So we gave it, in this case, the title Parrot Playfulness. That is now saved in there. Every other generation that we have is going to work off of that title that we saved in there, right? So next, let's go to a product description. And we'll write a product description for this one. Every time I see a parrot, you guys, I grew up with parrots, and the damn bird was downstairs and it would like mimic my mom's voice perfectly. And so she would scream my name, and then the bird would start screaming my name, and I would come running downstairs and be like, "What?" And I'd look around and there's nobody in the house and be like, "Oh, damn bird got me again." So I have a love-hate relationship with parrots. Okay, so let's say I love this description that I wrote. And I'm going to paste this description in here, okay? And all right, great. Oop, didn't want to delete that last bit. Parrot Playfulness I want out and save. I don't know if you guys are already going through this and doing this, but just getting the title, just getting the description, and just seeing it is so powerful from a marketing perspective, so powerful from a website perspective, just to see this and have an idea of what's going on here and what this looks like. And not saying that this is the final title and not saying that this is the final description, but instead saying like, okay, this is the starting point. Titling a piece and giving a piece of description would have taken me in a tremendously long time, right? It would have taken me a tremendously long time. I would have stressed over that, and you still might. But you know what? You've got a working title and you've got a working description, and that might be all that it takes to catch someone's attention and get this piece sold and over the line, right? So I love the not overthinking it, and I like really harp on this because nobody on this call ever overthinks things, right? Nobody ever overthinks things like this. So let's just say we're happy with this product title for the time being. One thing that I love to do is just to get things out of the way is come down to the SEO optimized titles. And I love explaining the difference between SEO optimized titles versus short titles on just understanding who my customer is, right? And for the short titles, and you can say for the long titles too, you can use either or. Your customer is a human being, an individual. You're trying to invoke an emotional response. You're trying to get someone's attention. You're trying to inspire, encourage, bring out a feeling from them, right? And so you don't want a boring SEO title for that. Essentially, the short titles and the long titles are for 90% of the situations out there. The SEO generated titles are really just, okay, they are just for the search engines because our customer is the search engine. And so what I like to do is, you know, you could spend thousands of dollars in keyword research, okay? And you could hire an SEO firm and you could say, well, here's the image. What is the best way to do this? Obviously not possible. No one can afford to do this. And what you would end up with is some ideas from an SEO firm, and you have no idea whether or not any of that would actually move the needle and if there is tremendous buyer intent. So all I'm looking to do is, can I get a title for this piece that is going to be a little bit more, cast a wider net for people that are searching in Google, right? And so I look at this and I find I give it the quick common sense. Okay, I just give it the quick common sense, right? Whimsical artwork featuring vibrant parrots and portrait, vibrant and colored parrot portrait, whimsical parrot painting, a colorful artistic masterpiece. No, colorful parrots with portrait of women painting. I like whimsical artwork featuring vibrant parrots and portrait. Okay. And what I do, you guys, is I just copy this. Let's just say that this was the product. I go right into the SEO section and boom, that's the SEO title. Okay. And you could argue, you could come back in here into Art Helper and say, okay, I have chosen as my SEO title, please rewrite an SEO based description reflecting that title. And we'll eventually have a Spark that does all of this, but this is just what I do in the meantime, is I'm going to have it quickly for me write an SEO description. Okay. And so it's going to go back in and it understands what the SEO title is because I've just told it what my SEO title is, right? And so now what it's going to do is it's going to incorporate what I chose as the SEO title, and it should, okay, I see what it's doing. Oh, because I'm in product title. I'm in the wrong one. Hold on. I got to get back to product description. Okay, product description. Let's do that again. Please write an SEO description based on my SEO title of, all right. And so now it's going to write a description that's going to have that SEO keywords from the title based into the description. And once it's done, boom, I'm copying that, boom, I'm coming back here, boom, I'm pasting that in, and I'm done. Okay. It's now got, and I would take the title out. Parrot playfulness doesn't need to be in there. And then on my regular image section, okay, this is where I go back in and I grab the title that I actually chose, which in this case is Parrot Playfulness. And then boom, I'm going to copy that in as the name. Okay. And then the short description and long description. Then I will grab the description that I used before, and I can get that. Sorry, I'm hopping around. I can get that a number of different ways, right? I can grab it from here, or I can go into product description. And if I go show history and then just scroll up to the top, there it is. That's the original product description. So I can just hit copy there. Copy, come back here, paste it into the long description, save, and I'm done. I'm done with the SEO. That image is done. It's processed. It's ready to go. I'm good, right? Like, you've done a much more thorough and clean implementation of SEO, and it's done. It's done for now. We're going to just go ahead. Google's going to be notified that that stuff has changed on your website. It's going to get indexed. It's going to take its time. It's going to get into the search engine. And you'll see whether or not those keywords are pulling it, but it's certainly better than no effort at all, right? And it's certainly possible now that you have someone writing it for you rather than you having to worry about writing it. And you can see we've got a Spark down here for SEO keywords. And so it'll give you SEO keywords for the image. These are early days. We're going to end up including all of the titling in the descriptions and the SEO and the non-SEO all in one simple window in some simple fashion where it's just boom, 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 boom. And ideally in the future, we'll cook it into a workflow where all of it's just happening automatically. And you're not even involved in the process at all. It's boom, it's put everywhere it needs to put, and you're done. You're done. You're starting to feel the momentum, right? Of picking up steam and actually getting something done. And it's an amazing feeling. So next, what I love to do is after I've got my title, after I've got my description, I go straight to the social post. And I have it write a quick social post for me because I do not want to wait. I want to grab the image that I have, potentially some of the room mockups. Potentially I'll go and do a carousel on Instagram first. Potentially I'll post it to Facebook first, but I want to get the art out there immediately. And so I don't want to overthink this. I don't want to go into crazy depth. I don't want to get too creative, although we're going to get creative later in the session. I just want to grab this, copy it, open up Instagram. And, once we have an iOS app for this, it will make it so much easier because you'll be able to just clipboard copy, and then you'll be able to just go right to your phone and post to Instagram. And that will make it really, really quick and sort of just easy and snappier. But again, early days. But boom, okay, social post is done. I've downloaded some images. I've downloaded some room mockups. Maybe I downloaded some of these other advanced ones, that had the colors that I liked and that all gelled and that look great. Okay, boom, done. Social post is out of the way. Next, and I should say, like, I always like looking at, what did the artist do in terms of a social post? So let's see what this says. It's Black Friday. Okay, so it's part of your sale. So it's a little bit of a different context, right? And one thing I did think about, like, Sandra, what is this? Is it just oil on canvas? And it's a 16 by 20. What does 480 mean? I wonder. You can give this context sometimes too, if you want to Art Helper, right? Like you could come up under the product description and we could say, I want to put in a custom role, custom rule rather. The original is a 16 by 20 oil on canvas, right? And save custom rule and clear the session and start over. And it will incorporate the details of that individual piece in this Spark, right? And so into the, this unique 16 by 20 oil on canvas piece is more than just a visual delight. It poses a wonder, refreshing perspective that you can infuse your space with fascination and wonder. Okay, great. So know that you can do that via custom rules on any individual Spark. You can turn this on, turn this off. You can decide whether you like what it did with incorporating that. If you don't like what it did, you can do that. You can do that to any of them, right? Absolutely any of them. And yeah, Barbara, so the product description, whether you use the product description as your social media post or you use the social media post, I like mixing it up, right? And then later I'm going to show you some advanced creative ways to do it, but I like mixing it up and alternating it and kind of, tweaking it here or there to my liking, to what I like best. Sometimes the social media post is best. Sometimes the product description is best. But you can totally mix it up, right? And sometimes too, like the important thing to understand about social media is, I'm showing it to you on a web browser. It's much better to contemplate what people are seeing when they're on their actual phones and they're scrolling at 1,000,000 miles an hour, right? So a lot of times, people will say to me like, well, Patrick, like, why don't I really spend my time and craft this amazing thing? Or, I interviewed a photographer yesterday that does an individual poem for every image he posts. And it's like, okay, that's great. You can do that on the next one, but on the first one, understand that this is going to end up in somebody's feed. They're going to be scrolling with their thumb at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And this caption, this description that you give it, you might only be doing that for Instagram. We're giving Instagram additional context on what is in your image, such that Instagram has a better idea, such that Facebook, such that LinkedIn, such that X, such that Blue Sky, wherever you're posting TikTok, such that all of those apps have a better context on the image that you are giving them, so they have a better idea of who to show it to organically. Okay. And that's like a really, really important thing to take away, because again, what are we all doing on our phones? We're scrolling with our thumbs at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And it's not like we're only going to post this image once and we only get one bite at the apple, right? There's times to get more creative, but early on, it's about getting this momentum, right? Like this daunting list of tasks that was never possible before because you were on your own and you only had 24 hours in the day is now achievable in mere minutes. And it's all just to get that art noticed, which is so, so important, right? Next, a lot of you guys have seen the blog post feature. The blog post feature really is, I mean, it's just another tremendous, like, none of you guys were creating blog posts about new pieces because it took too much time. Some of you were, but even the ones that were, very, very few were ever able to do it consistently. And what does a blog post do for you, right? Like, what can a blog post do? It gives you multiple ways to win, is what it does, right? Like if you contrast having a blog post versus not having a blog post, okay? Well, what are the multiple ways to win of having a blog post? Number one, it is going to alert Google, okay? It is going to give you some additional keywords in the search engine that you created this piece. It is going to have additional visual references to the piece, okay? You're able to link out of the blog post directly to the item in the store, right? You are able to have a blog post if you want to use it or not. If you want to use it in an email, use it in an email. If you want to link to it from the image, link in bio, do that. If you want to link to it as sort of a step to get to know the piece a little bit better, then boom, they just end up on the product page. Like you have an opportunity to romance a little bit, to have a step before they end up on the product page and they're just asked to check out. Well, it's nice to be able to have that and to be able to leverage that, okay, very, very easily with almost no additional work. And whether you use it or not, okay, it's ready to go. It's ready to go. And Anna's asking, are we going to help set up the blogs? For now, it's copy and paste, you guys. You take the generations that this thing turns out, you copy them, you paste them, but we give you all the building blocks. You guys all have blogs with Art Storefronts. Many people have blogs in other places, and now you can write them. And like, look, it's about having it published. You have so many more options, right, on how it all works and how it all goes and what it ends up looking like, right? And so Hava, you're obviously doing it already. Talk just briefly about your blog publishing experience and what that looks like on ASF, because I'm curious.
Oh, I'd love to. Am I? Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
Unmute.
Yep.
A couple of days ago, I've been wanting to do it for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I just never really knew how to write a blog post. And I just didn't have the time, and I don't like writing.
Mm-hmm.
But the templates are there. It's really easy to set up on your Art Storefronts page to set up the blog. And the rest is just like you just fill in the information. And I generated 3 blog posts in like an hour. And all of them, they're just things that I've posted about before, but I only had a paragraph that I've posted before. So I used that paragraph to seed the blog and then just copied and pasted the rest, including SEO and SEO description and everything. It's pretty great. And I'm really excited about it. I've been promoting it.
Yeah, and again, it goes back, and thank you, Hava. I love bringing you guys in and like talking about the individual experiences, because it's it's an amazing thing, and it's like, okay, good. So not only did the work get done, okay, did the actual content get created, but she's SEOing the posts using the SEO information that's been given, and like, I've had to be a blogger for the last 10 years of my life. It's daunting. It's daunting. Right. And just to have it, just to get that work done, and I constantly like leverage this notion, and some of you guys have seen it, and I've been mixing it up. And you know what? I like it even better. It's like, I want you to walk out of your studio office right now, okay? And this is literally the analogy. Like, these guys on the wall, these guys now all work for you. And it's an entire room of writers. And they work for you, and they are at your beck and call. And to be honest with you, they don't sleep. They don't need any food. They're available 24 hours. You can work with them for 10 minutes and then come back. You can essentially keep them locked in this painting and jump into this painting anytime that you want, right? And you know, going back to that blog post technique, like one of the ways that I leverage this, and by the way, like we've been looking at the data of you guys, and already a bunch of you are figuring this out, and we essentially have power users because some people are running like it gives us like the number of times you run the Spark. Some people are running like 195, 200 Sparks in a day, right? Already. And you guys are getting it. It's like, you guys, this team of people now works for you. Okay. You're essentially in this room and you're looking at all these people and you're like, what creative concepts have we come up with? Who has ideas? That's a good idea. Okay. I've heard your idea. Let me marinate on that. What is your idea? And clearing the session and starting over is how you toggle between one writer and another. Okay. Clearing the session or tuning my voice rather from mysterious, passionate, and direct. Like maybe, you know, this gal with her hair up in the bun and the glasses and the Mac, maybe her voice is friendly, funny, and relaxed. Okay. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to clear the session and start over, and we're going to see what she turns out. But maybe I'm feeling a little bit different, and I want to tune the voice to empathetic, emotional, and professional. And maybe that's this guy over here with the sunglasses on his head. All of these writers now work for you. You now have a team of writers. You are no longer a solopreneur, a one-man band, an individual. You have a team, right? And this goes for the blog post, you guys, the same as it goes for the product descriptions, the same as it goes for the social media updates. You have a team of writers, right? And any creative thing that you get into your head, you can use the individual one-off tweak, right? Suggest changes or add more context, or you can make it a custom rule, right? You can make it a custom rule. And it's like how quickly you can get creative, right? So I'm hacking Art Helper right now to be presentation software because I'm showing you this picture to make my point. But like when I say creative, this particular room of writers absolutely hates one another. Hates one another. Think Republicans versus Democrats, Israelis versus Palestinians. I'm going to get way too complicated. Absolutely hates each other. Think Republicans versus Democrats, right? Write the post as if they are arguing with each other strongly, right? And this is the type of like creative ideas that would only potentially come out of a writing room like this, right? You can do anything, okay? Each individual tune or tweak you make is what would potentially come out of a writer room if you have all of these creative people on your side. For you photographers, you can tell me in a custom rule or a one-off rule where the photo was taken, what time of year it was, what happened that year, historical context, something about the seasons changing, what the temperature was outside, all of these things. Like the tension is real. Just look at those faces. Each person brings a distinct viewpoint shaped by different experiences, beliefs, and emotional investment at the issues at hand. Like all of these is just the team of writers, right? I played around with another one. It's like, because I love cooking. And apparently this gal I learned on the internet was the Julia Childs. Before Julia Childs was Julia Childs. So I learned that today. Nice. But that's you. You're the chef. And you have an entire kitchen full of chefs. And they're all here to just say, yes, chef. Yes, chef. What do you need me to do? Yes, chef. Let me go make a sauce. Let me go get working on the prep. Let me deal with the dishes. That's you now. You have that team at your disposal. And it's like when you start thinking about that and how you can leverage that and how you can put them to work and what creativity that you can get them to do on your behalf, the work is getting done and it's staggering. It's just amazing. Anyway, yes, chef, I want to walk into my kitchen and see all those people ready to go. How much better are my dishes going to be? They're going to be cooked. They're not going to be microwaved. They're not going to be DoorDashed, right? So, I think these analogies are like really, really give the teeth, really, really make it understandable. But anyway, let's say our blog post is published, right? And you can see in the chat, a bunch of you guys are doing this already. And I love it, right? I just absolutely love it. Next, let's get a new piece email, because I know every time one of you guys gets a new piece, you definitely email your entire list, right? Every time? No, you don't. Nobody does. Almost no one does, because it's hard to constantly write everything every time you churn out a new piece, right? And so I look at this, and I've now, I'm in the chef image, so I should probably get out of the chef image and get back to the image that we've been working on. And so now I'm going to write a new piece email, right? And again, it's going to take into context Parrot Playfulness. It's going to take into context the description that we've chosen, and it's going to write this email for me that I can, again, just copy. I can insert the image. I can grab one of my room mock-ups or grab 3 of my room mock-ups. And here's like the beautiful thing about the new piece email too, where it's like this whole thing requires like a tweak, okay? A tweak in how you guys think, right? Because when I write a new piece email, I get to choose my own adventure, right? Like, what do most people do? They write the new piece email, and instead, after it's done, they say link in store, go buy it, right? Well, what if I'm not ready to have them just buy it? Okay. What if in this new piece email, I really just want to tease the fact that I have a larger story going on? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in this new piece email, and I'm going to create a custom rule for this email. Please write what kind of a tease do I want? Please write a witty tease that is short, and that's entire desired outcome is to get them to click and read my blog post. I'm going to save that custom rule, and I'm going to clear it. I'm going to start over. Okay. So what I'm trying to get this to do now is I've now decided, because I have a blog post, all I really want them to do is open this email, have their interest be piqued enough that they're going to go and read the blog post, right? And I can see this one already. It didn't completely get the idea of what I was asking it to do, so I would probably need to tweak it again. But my larger point is, you've got an email that's written. Maybe it takes an edit. And we just added this feature, by the way, that you can actually edit. I don't know if this is live on everybody's yet. I think it is. But you can actually just go in here and edit. And if it's off by a line or two, you don't want to assert an image there, you want to change cheers to sincerely, you can change all of it here before you even go in your email program, copy it, boom, be ready to go, right? So that's an amazing thing. But what I'm saying, because we've leveraged the Sparks for the social posts, for the product description, for the product title, for the blog post, for the social media update that's now published, I can go back into this new piece email, and I can choose my own adventure based on what I think is going to serve my business best. Perhaps I tease the piece and then I link to the blog post, and the blog post links to the piece. Perhaps I don't do any of that, and I just link to the social media post, because I want to drive my Instagram followers. And I know they're on their phone when they read the email anyway. And so all it's going to do is just open up Instagram, and they're going to go directly to that post. I've got it, right? Or I can link directly to the product in the store, or I can do all 3. But you now have these marketing assets and this marketing collateral created for you, such that you can leverage it in any which way that you like, right? And I'm also finding, just to keep going down on Sparks, and I saw we got a question in the chat about Sparks. Sparks are what we're calling these individual tasks, okay, that you can have executed on your behalf. And you can see what we have in here so far. The sheer volume of what we have planned that we're going to add additionally to this is absolutely staggering. So that's coming up and is going to be really, really interesting. But one of the, so that's what Sparks are. And Brandon's on here in a second. He'll get into this workflow concept that we're moving into next, which is another just absolutely staggering thing. But one of the things that I love about understanding Art Helper is your base layer, right? Is, on these demos, I've constantly been taking you guys through this notion of momentum and this notion of going through all these individual steps, because I know you're going to get the glee and the joy that I've been feeling using this application on how much progress I'm making. But there's also this tremendous opportunity for just quick creativity, okay? Quick creativity and opening your mind to thinking in ways you would not have even thought about your art before. And this goes to a sketch of the idea that you have, This goes to your piece and process. This goes to your piece. Like, let's say we decided not to title this. And let's say we decided not to give this image a description. And let's just say instead, we just went right to the Facebook group finder. Okay. And this is such a new and emergent way to use AI. But I'm essentially asking Art Helper right now, help me marinate creatively. Help put some new creativity into my head such that I can better understand how to articulate this piece, how to describe where it should go, how to market it, how to talk about it in my email, how to talk about it in the product title, how to talk about it in the product descriptions. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open myself up to some new creative inputs, right? These are the types of connections that an AI can make in instance that would take us forever to do on our own. And you can see that some groups have instantaneously populated: bird enthusiasts, parrots and people. And I'm just going to click on one of them. And I find in my own use cases, I'm doing this on a regular basis, and I'm going in and I'm looking, okay, for people owned by parrots. Is that even real? I'm looking at some of these individual groups. Now, granted, some of them are like this one where you have to join the group when it's locked down, right? But I'm going into these groups, and especially the ones that have like a decent amount of members and a decent amount of posters. And for some reason, the parrot people just have things on lockdown. NorCal parent. I mean, everyone is on lockdown. It's not really helping with my display. Let me see if I can go to one of the other ones. Tropical birds, that will come out. Not as fun as parrots, but I'm sure some of these will be ready to join in a second. Yeah, okay. British bird watching, right? Waiting in tropical birds. SoCal birding. Let's see if I can get into this one. It's not locked down. Ugh, every single solitary one. I'm going to have to join British bird watching. Is this one open? Yeah. So on the ones that are open, okay. So again, just to reiterate what I've done, I don't know what to title this piece. I don't know how to articulate this piece. I don't know how to talk about this piece. And instead, I want to show this piece to somebody and get some feedback from them to give me some new ideas. And that's what we're asking the AI to do. And so let's say it gave me this British bird watching group. I'll go into like a bunch of these groups and just quickly scroll like this and see if anything catches my attention on what it looks like. Are there any memes going on? Are there funny text on top of birds? Are there videos that are hilarious? Is there a funny way of referencing a bird or talking about a bird? And this is, a painting with parrot and, a gal that looks like Sophia Loren. So it doesn't necessarily gel with that one. And it's hit or miss. But you guys will experience this on your own when you start doing this with some of your work. It's like this creative force multiplier, right? Like, you look at the work and then you're into a group and then you're hopping around from image to image and you're seeing how the internet is talking about this particular body of work and you're figuring out other areas that are selling. And then you figured out that there's other groups over here, and instantaneously you've taken so much in. You have to like almost be like, okay, I got to get out of here for a second and go for a walk, so all of this can settle into my brain and make me think about my work completely differently, make me think about a series of my work or a body of my work, right? So I made this sculpture. Here's a parrot sculpture. It's got 385 upvotes. It's got 34 comments. Here's somebody else that's trying to sell art in this group. Already, this tells me with 1.2 million members in this group, 61 online, top 1% ranked in Reddit. This is probably a serious group with some serious diehard parrot lovers. So maybe we need to go back, identify what type of birds that these are, and maybe include that in the title, because it turns out people are absolutely diehard about their parrots. Gee, I wonder if somebody posted a bird that looked exactly like my bird, and that's actually the kind of bird that it is. And then now I could come in and leave a comment. And by the way, I love these birds. I painted these birds. Like, these are the types of things that I get into creatively when I'm going through this. And it's like, when you find these diehard niches, and like I'm looking at like 1,200 upvotes, 268 comments, this is obviously a diehard community. Okay. And you can post in Reddit carousels, right? So you can come right into Reddit, and, I wouldn't advise doing this on your absolute first post, right? And here's an artist doing it. Like, here's the photo that I started with. And look, she posted 5 to 7 pieces of her artwork. Why do you think she's done that? Probably because she realizes that there are diehard bird loving, parrot loving people in this group. And she said, send me a photo and I'll commission you this drawing. And I'm willing to bet she's got some commissions out of this too. And this is like, it's really hard to come up with the creative ideas to do this on your own, right? So look, This is a brilliant strategy that I see already. These people are posting their parrots. She's probably going into a digital painting program in Photoshop with a Wacom tablet, recreating these things in seconds. And I bet this is a commissions machine. Try my baby boy. I didn't even know this was possible in a parrot group. And look at how quickly she's churning them out. How many people do you think are now going to contact her as a result of doing this? Look at how genius this strategy. How many people are going to contact her as a result of doing this for commissions? Hey, I really like that quick drawing that you did. Can you do something a little bit bigger? Can you expand out a little further? Right? And all of that happened in 2 seconds. You know, I just got all of those creative ideas. I just got an idea on how to market things. And I'm now going to go back and look at my subject matter material. And you know what I might even do? Maybe I can create works this quick. Maybe I'll just copy this verbatim and I'll try it on a different animal, right? I would imagine that this artist in question has gotten a tremendous amount of commission business out of it. And how do we even get there? Do you see how quickly we were able to go down that rabbit hole? And do you see how quickly what we were able to learn? Like, it doesn't matter what your subject matter material is. And in that case, it was like, okay, Reddit found a group for us. Quickly, I looked and saw that there were a tremendous amount of people in here. If a party's going on, I like being part of a party. So I'm going to be in there. I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to play in there. I'm going to discover things in there. I just figured out a new marketing technique and a hack that is very, very creative. They're getting a ton of messages. What group can I go do that in? Maybe you're a photographer and there's a park or a national monument or some special area that you shot. Okay, now I'm going into Reddit. I'm finding the subreddit and who is cooking in that group, right? What is somebody that's interesting that's going on there? Maybe the park ranger posts and it's like, hey, I need help with such and such. Does anybody have any images of this, that, and the other? And the next thing you know, you see it's a park ranger. You send the park ranger a couple of your images. He's like, hey, we want to get some prints. These are the types of things that happen when you have these machines thinking for you and putting you into these creative scenarios, okay? It's just absolutely amazing how quickly I get there. And it's like every time I let these guys just go and work for me, I let Art Helper go and work for me, I find that I'm so much more productive. I'm so much quicker. Again, I'm walking into my kitchen and I look at the staff of cooks saying, yes, chef, what do you need me to do? What can I do next? So it's really been staggering. Brandon, I'll pass the rant to you for a few minutes and then I want to show some more creative stuff and then I want to get some hands up and just keep the learning going.
Sounds good. So looks like there's a lot of familiar faces, so I'll go a little bit quicker with this one today. But just for the folks that haven't been able to be in one of these or weren't at the gala, I'll quickly show kind of what we're planning with Art Helper Pro, and we'll show the deal that we had for the gala. We just got approval today to extend that through the rest of the year. I'm very happy about that because I had to pull a lot of strings to get that for 72 hours, and so. A lot of you guys said, hey, can this be extended? So thank you for those messages. Was able to get that done for the rest of the year. So let me share here. Now I'm going to be talking about Art Helper Pro. And a lot of what we're seeing and what you guys are using right now is beta, right? So everyone that's using it in the current environment is beta. These things are not in beta yet. But these are things that we're planning on doing, considering, kind of beating up, working with the developers and prioritizing. We're also taking a lot of your feedback for everyone that already has access. Your feedback is super important to us. That is stack ranked with a lot of these features that we're developing. So very important to go in there, add your feedback, and also upvote things that you like. We listen to that and we're looking at that daily. I mean, the whole team is. So very important. So number one, advanced sparks, you're seeing kind of some of them. I'm going to be launching a lot of fun sparks over time. So again, for those not familiar with the term sparks, these are prepackaged blueprints for content, that's done at the click of a button. And it's programmed and tuned by us here at Art Storefronts and marketing experts. All the Etsy ones that we have, that was all trained on Etsy best practices from their actual seller handbook. So we're putting a lot of thought into every single spark. All these emails are written with methodologies that are best practices. The product descriptions, SEO stuff, all of it is like, getting a professional copywriter every time you click the button. So we're going to have even more advanced Sparks over time. I'll show a little bit of the workflows. I know a lot of you have already seen this, so I'll go a little bit quicker. Multiple brand voices. So you might have, a social media voice. You might have a, a voice that you talk to a gallery or apply to a gallery with. You might have a different voice when you're talking to your collectors and your emails. So you'll be able to change that tuning of your voice and save that. You'll be able to eventually choose which voice you want it to write in. Smart auto mockups. Right now we're kind of just vomiting a bunch of the mockups at you guys, and there's a lot of like smart layers behind it where you can search. We eventually wanted to kind of understand the art and recommend based on all of the interior designs and stuff like that, which would be best, right? So like kind of float to the top. Someone also gave a very good suggestion, which was saving your favorite styles, right? So if it's like, you prefer minimalist or rustic or whatever, maybe that's something we could add in to where all your mockups kind of just generally float in a favorite, background or whatever. Store and social integrations. So eventually we want to get this hooked up to sync with our storefronts, social media. So you could post directly to, Facebook, Instagram, Etsy. All of those things we're currently considering. With Pro, you get unlimited writing credits. So we got some power users in here already that are racking up the bill. I love to see it. I might call on some of you guys later. I want to hear your feedback. The ability to create custom Sparks. So if you've got your own little workflow, we'll eventually have a place where you can create Sparks as well. So if you have I always send my customers thank you notes, every time they buy from me, and there's no Spark for that. You might be able to create your own Spark that says, you kind of program it yourself, and it's, specific to you. So that's coming. Chat with expert agents. That's kind of like Alana. We had Alina in the Art Marketing Vault, which was the AI art marketing expert. We're planning on putting some of those into Art Helper, where you can sit there and chat with AI experts in their respective fields. So there might be an SEO chatbot that you talk to. There might be a art show expert that you talk to, and these will all be programmed and trained and tuned, with the best-in-class knowledge. We also want to do secure photo storage, so you can actually use Art Helper as your sort of jumping off point for all your photography, all your images. As your library, we'll have great filtering, storing, and all this will be locked down, secure, Fort Knox style. I'm sure Pat talked about that a little bit. Let me look at workflows real quick. These are basically taking those Sparks and automating a process. So, you could go in and do that whole thing that Pat kind of demoed, where you're doing it piece by piece and tuning each Spark to your preferences. Once you get that down, there might be a way, there's going to be a way where we can just automate all that. So you upload a piece of art and all the content's just done for you the way you like it every single time in your voice. Here's some early mock-ups that we're looking at. You can see you can be able to select an image and start creating the workflow. That's a little esoteric, so I created this quick, sort of demo here. So let's say I'm getting a new piece ready for market, right? I just created a new art piece, and I want to write the product title. Then I want it to write the product description exactly how I like it in my voice. Then I want it to go and do the SEO keyword Spark to pull the SEO keywords. I also want it to write the SEO meta descriptions to my preferences. I want it to then upscale the image. So maybe I uploaded something with my phone and I want it to be a little bit bigger so I get more print on demand sizes. Then I want it to write a blog post with all of that information. Then I want it to sync to my ASF store. Now that it's in the store, I want it to take that URL and write a new piece email. And I also want it to write a new social post. And then I'm going to take that email and social post and schedule it in Hub so it goes out to my Instagram profile and to all my email subscribers. Now I'm going to have it wait 30 days because I don't want it to get on the Copilot, and I just marketed it, so I don't want it to get into the Copilot rotation. I'll have it add to Copilot later. Let's say I want to do the same thing, but for Etsy, you would write the complete Etsy listing, create the mockups, upload to store. Let's say I wanted to get ready for an art show, and I wanted to write about a collection of my pieces versus just selecting one image at a time. I can go in there and select all those images. We'll have like sort of these multiple image sparks, right? Where you can select multiple images and sparks will pop up that are able to do multiple images. So it'll write a collection statement, sort of a body of work for that collection. Maybe it'll create QR codes. Then maybe we'll have a spark for creating a brochure that you can download as a PDF. And it writes that show or event email, schedules that to Hub. And then, I always forget to do this. So maybe I'm going to have it go ahead and write the follow-up email and schedule that. I already know the date's like 7 days out. So I'm going to have to schedule that in Hub for 8 days once the show's over to automatically send out that follow-up. Write the social post, post it to Hub, and there we go. So that's just a small demo. A few things to note on this and the why we haven't really opened it up all the way. Again, we have a lot of power users and people are, there's demand for it to get in, but there's also like people are using it a lot. So we're trying to protect the speed and quality of output for everybody. So it's behind this paywall, and there are costs to this. So every time we're running these algorithms, there is a cost to us every single time. So if you're on like a gold plan with Art Storefronts, this is a separate app, right? With a gold plan with Art Storefronts, it's every website feature, right? This is a completely different from the website feature. It's a separate app, sort of a little separate brand over here. You do get benefits from being on Art Storefronts, obviously, but that's kind of why it's separated over here. We are still in beta today. The offer we have, though, is for you purchasing Art Helper Pro. Showed you a few of the things that we're going to be building into it. Pat's shown a lot of the sort of the advanced stuff. It's kind of like buying a car, right? Like you buy a new car, hasn't shipped to you yet, but the dealership is going to give you a really nice loaner car. So that's what beta is right now. It doesn't necessarily correlate to what's going to be in Pro. Pro is going to be a lot better. As you can see from all the small wins updates, like beta is already pretty good, right? Like it's already there. So just imagine, if this is the crappiest the product's ever going to be, what Pro is going to be. This is something we want to help with artists all over the world, so we want to make this a great product for you guys. If you I mentioned this in the gala. So if you purchased these products or services from our service store in the last 30 days from the gala, then you'll get a refund on these. I felt bad. Like Art Helper is just better than this, and you can essentially get all these services every single day in Art Helper. You can get a niche group finder for every single image in your entire portfolio. You can get product descriptions written in your voice exactly how you like them. 10 ways to Sunday for every single image, and simply copy and paste them over to your ASF store. And then, of course, you saw the mock-ups. Like we're doing like 100 mock-ups per image in Art Helper right now. So that's just $1,500 of value just in those sort of 3 features. It's not even mentioning everything else that's in Art Helper right now. So again, last 30 days, I can't go back 6 months, can't go back 9 months. I didn't know Art Helper was going to be there, right? I just thought about this, in July. A lot of you guys saw my early ugly demo video of like, hey, would it be cool if I built this? And from your feedback, we're like, hey, customers seem to, think this is pretty cool. So we took a shot and built it, and you guys have definitely validated that for us. All right, so get on with it, Brandon. Here's what we got in terms of the offers right now. I said this in the gala and the follow-ups. I'm not the hard sales guy here, and I'll just tell you these are the best bundles we've ever done. Specifically, this 3-year deal. With every deal here, you're getting some bonuses, and I've been able to extend these bonuses until the end of the year. And from there, they said you can't do it anymore. So please, please, please use that $200 credit towards Art Helper. I think it's going to be the best deal you can get. If you want to, dip the toe in the water, you can go with this 1-year deal. It comes with 3 months of Copilot added on. So if you don't have Copilot, you get 3 months of Copilot. If you already have Copilot, it pushes out your renewal date 3 extra months, right? So you'll still have a Copilot bill coming in, but it pushes out, it tacks on to the end of your subscription. So your effective Copilot rate goes down. The 2-year plan is, really big savings just in the Copilot alone. But this comes with 1 year of Copilot added on, 6 months of your ASF hosting added on, and you get 2 years of Art Helper Pro, I should say. The 3-year deal is 2 years of Copilot, 1 year of ASF hosting added on. This is already, a $4,000, $5,000 value just in those two things. And you'll get the 3-year, 36 months of Art Helper Pro. But we also give you 0% transaction fees on your Art Storefront store for life. I know a lot of you guys have already bought this and you're like, hey, I had a sale yesterday and I already got charged a transaction fee. We're working on getting all that stuff, ramped up for you guys. But yeah, this is just an insane deal right now. We've had several people buy the 1 year or 2 year plan and then say, you know what, I'm just going to upgrade to 3 years. This has happened like 20 times now. I mean, so if you're considering it, and there's a lot of people I saw shaking their head, like get the 3-year deal. It's a really good one. I'm not going to try to oversell it, but it kind of stands on its own. The Gala special, we're also extending, because if I didn't, you guys would not stop emailing me about, can I get the Gala special? Next time, show up to the Gala. But we'll give it away if you're in these workshops. So EOY Cred 2024, and we'll drop a link that auto applies this, so you don't have to remember it. But click the link in the chat. It will auto apply this discount. You'll get an extra $200 off all of these packages that I just mentioned. So that is what we've got going on right now. I would also just love to hear from some of you guys that have already purchased that are, let's just say 10 out of 10. Hey, I'm really loving this. And just maybe say a piece on or two in terms of how you're using Art Helper and how it's helped you. And then I saw Jerry somewhere in here. Jerry's my power user. Jerry Kita, I want to talk to you too, because you're just, man, you're getting a lot of value in there. I see that usage going up. So I'd love to, if you want, chat
yeah, I'm
about
here
it too. Awesome. Tell us how you're using it, Jerry.
Well, I don't have anything immediately new, although I will have it shortly. But what I decided to do is I've got about 140 or so images already posted. So I said, I'm going to go through each of them and essentially redo them because the way I do my write-ups and even come up with my titles pretty much sucks. I'm just not very good at it. So starting this past Saturday, I have for every, I'm down to, I've got 20 left to do. But for every image, what I've done is I've updated the description. I've updated a short description. I've created a short description for the catalog if I ever choose to use it. There's also an entry in the website for a social post, so I've updated that. And then I've updated, actually I've not updated, I've created the SEO titles and descriptions, which I never did because I just didn't have time. And for each one, depending on how much I want to tweak it, it takes between 4 and 7 minutes. What I've also done is using custom rules, I've stacked a couple of capabilities. So what I do is within the product description Spark, what I do is not only do I get the description, I also ask for a 100-word description, which I use as the catalog description. I also ask for an SEO title. So from one Spark, I get really 3 entries. And I found that really kind of speeds things up. So and I'm sure there's other ways I can, do things to be even more productive. And I've created kind of a workflow where if you were to watch me do it, I'm just going click, 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 cut, paste, cut, paste, cut, paste. And like I say, within 4 to 7 minutes, I've redone an existing image. Yes, as you've noticed, I've been pretty heavy into it the last few days.
Awesome. Yeah. So I was trying to recreate what you just said there. So you're using, okay, yeah, this is great. So you're using custom rules.
Yeah.
You're saying also add an SEO description, add
Yep.
a 100-word catalog description along
Right.
with it, right? So, and there it goes.
And that's exactly what it does.
It's doing the SEO description right there. It's doing the 100-word catalog description for you as well every single
Right.
time. Yeah,
Right.
I love the hackiness.
And also what I'm doing, and I guess through Patrick's demo, it's corroborated that as I create the title, I'm updating the edit details.
Yes.
So within the tool itself, it's creating the title. And I also notice if I add keywords into the edit details, those quickly get incorporated into the output.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a proper sequence that I do. I've known that the sequence in which you do things matters.
Yeah, one thing we're going to add to our work details is a box for, like just context, like for the piece itself, because there's things that you would maybe say like painted this in the 80s or whatever, that might not go into the description.
True, but yes, and for that, what I do is where it does, on the main page, ask you to add some context. If I don't like if there's things that I think are missing out of the product description, I will add to the context and then just run it again.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I've had a number of instances where I'll say, look, this photo was taken in Colorado in September of 2022, and that will immediately get incorporated into the description. But it's only a one-time thing, so it only applies to that particular
right. Any
image.
one-time context, put it here.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Anything that's multiple, it's going to apply to all your images, put it in custom rules. Pat's is doing this for the demo, but generally use this for all your, giving context about the piece. You should also know, just sort of behind the scenes, a little inside baseball. I wanted it to where like this just makes it go again when I click this. So we might add that in on the next one. When you click clear session and start over, it's like the Men in Black, look at the pin, it forgets everything you told it
Right.
in the session. So what I normally do is just go try again if I want to redo it, and it'll remember what I told it in the same session, but it just, we'll keep recreating it here. Right. Yep. So that's great.
There's nothing better than hearing like these individual recipes that others are cooking up, because we all have so much to learn on like, what are you finding to be valuable? Like what hacky ways are you leveraging it? Because the sheer amount of creativity and room for creativity in this is like, it's never ending. It's staggering.
I want to hear from, I want to hear from Ann Shower first, because I know you are working in glass. And I just want to hear your unique perspective. And I know there's some product limitations with the mock-ups, but I'd love to hear from you. And then after that, I'd love to hear from Zeta, because I know Zeta, you just started using it, and then you posted in Small Wins. So I wanted to get your initial feedback. Let's unmute Ann.
Hi.
Hi, Ann.
The mock-ups, I guess are an issue for that, because if I put a piece of fused glass that puts it on a frame on a wall, which doesn't work, but the titles and the descriptions, I mean, that's amazing, because I title my things very boringly right now, basically saying what it is. So I have loved those two features, and of going in and changing my titles and descriptions. One thing I noticed is I do have some wall art that I've created with fused glass that are already in frames. And so if I put the framed image as my image, it still puts it in a frame on a wall.
Yeah, the mock-ups are going to be, those are still kind of dumb, right?
Okay.
But we'll add some capability. Are the sparks, like they're recognizing the glass or the medium
Yeah,
at least?
sometimes with the glass pieces, it thought it was ceramic. So in the description, I just said, this is a
This is
fused
glass.
glass piece. And for words not to use, I would say don't use ceramics, and then it would
Nice.
recognize it correctly.
Awesome. Cool.
So
Well, I'm glad that piece is working for you, and I'm seeing your feedback, in small wins and stuff like that. So just wanted to acknowledge that. And
Thank you.
if-
Thanks so
if you-
much.
If you guys are a sculptor or work in different mediums, Art Helper can work for you as well. It's not just wall art. Now, the mock-ups are not always going to work, right? Like as part of my demo, I had used the kind of a tongue-in-cheek with the comedian piece here, right? So it's putting the comedian on mock-ups, but it still knows it's a banana on the wall, so it can help with those 3D objects. Cool. And then who did I say next? Zeta, did she drop off?
Let me see. No, she's still here.
I asked her to unmute already.
Hey, Brendan. So yeah, I've been playing around and I had a lot of fun. So when I saw one of Patrick's demos, just the idea, that I can introduce humor to these descriptions or posts, and probably most likely social posts. And I mean, I had the same thing, like David Attenborough should narrate some of my pieces. I think it's brilliant, and it worked great. I also messed with lion cubs playing. It looks like an Italian mafia movie. So
Yes. See, how much more do you want to see the art already? Like, that already piques my interest. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
excited about, like, it's just a dimension that wasn't there before. The work was always beautiful, but it didn't have like this new comedic element in the text to draw me in. It's like, now I really want to see it. It just gets me fired up. So how did that one go? Have you posted that one?
no, I have not posted
Oh.
it. I copied it, but I haven't posted it. But yeah, this is really, really cool with the panther.
I tried to
yeah,
go find
it's-
a David Attenborough
Boys.
AI voice thing just to put this through there, but it was charging me too much for it, and I didn't know if Sir Attenborough would appreciate it. But love the description.
Yeah. So the other one, yeah, I just put stuff into the prompt. I tried the custom rules, but in the prompt, I mean that I put in that make a scene sound like the lion cubs are in the movie Taxi Driver, the talking to me.
Yes.
line,
Yes.
and it came up with it. So yeah, it was brilliant. So yeah, I like humor, and somebody mentioned it in one of the chats also. Maybe a sarcastic kind of a tone. I would vote for that too. I mean, just the different elements that it's just so difficult to come up with when you sit and you stare at your own picture. It's really, really helpful.
Love that feedback, Zeta. And again, I just, there's no way you would have been able to do it on your own. It's too hard. It's too brain draining. And it's like, now you can incorporate some of this level of creativity, and it's like, it really moves the needle when people see it. And how easy was it to tease an art piece before? Not like especially easy. Now you can tease the description that dovetails with the art piece. I feel like it just opens up so much additional, marketing heft, which is why I'm so excited to see what you guys do.
The other thing is we launched some brand new sparks here at the bottom. Or I don't know if you guys have access to these yet or not, but these are coming. So marketing plan for each image, is application description. So if you guys go to shows, it always asks you like, hey, what is the 200 word artist statement or 200 character artist statement? So we'll do the little application description for you, Facebook ad, blog outline, FAQ generator for your website. So you probably have a lot of customers that like, when does this ship or how big is it? Blah, 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 blah. You can just create those automatically. SEO keywords we kind of talked about, but this marketing plan is like taking an ASF expert and just like giving you a plan per piece, right? So it's telling me, where to go post it, which keywords to include, my social media strategy there, critical tasks, what I should do, week 1, week 2, week 3, how I should tease it, optional things, day by day on what to do with an individual piece, all backed by like the art marketing calendar. So these are just, sort of a taste of what we're adding in here.
Well, we can take some questions too. So if you guys want to raise your hands, come on, ask a question, give some feedback, give a feature idea. We do want everybody to vote the feature ideas in that are in app. So maybe we can show that in a second, Brandon, but we'll take some questions. John Scala, go ahead.
Hey guys.
Hey.
My question is it just more strategically than on using. I have started using it. It's great. But Patrick, is the idea here that now that we can create so much content so easily that we should really be like flooding the zone, like multiple blog posts, multiple emails, multiple social posts? I mean, I know Nick has referenced Gray Malin, and I follow him. I must get 20 pieces of content every single day. From Gray Malin.
I know. Because he
almost
has an
every
entire
single one.
team. He has an entire marketing department, that guy.
Right. And I mean, it goes, completely opposite of what we've been talking about, which is, romancing and then occasionally throw the right hook. His is like unabashedly, I'm a photographer and my stuff is for sale.
Yeah.
Everything is this week only, free framing. This week only, 25% off. New work from Nantucket, limited edition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, and I don't know, it doesn't turn me off. I haven't turned away from it, maybe because I'm just looking to see what he's putting out.
Yeah.
But should we sort of be tacking in that direction of just like 5 Facebook?
No, it's such a good question, John. It's such a good question. I mean, the macro truths have always been true. Okay. And then I'll get to Gray Malin's situation individually. And the macro truths are, we are all stuck in this cognitive bias where we think everything we post, everybody sees. And nothing could be further from the truth, because that's just not the way that it works in marketing. You post, you send an email, you do a blog post, you put anything live on your store, you post on social. Again, a very, very small fraction of whoever's in your ecosystem or whoever would discover it organically ever even sees that. So the numbers are pretty black and white in the more that you create, okay, the more lines you have in the water. So regular and consistent posting is a tide that rises all boats. It just does. Now, when you shift gears to Gray Malin, he gets to play by a different set of rules a little bit, in the sense that he has such a large following and he has such a brand name and he has so much demand that he can be out there right hooking all the time. If I was running Gray Malin's marketing department, I would incorporate more romance content, because I think it would further grow his following. But he's in a position where, because he has so much demand, he can be out there just right hooking all the time. And that's how he operates his business. And, there's a dividing line between him. It's very clear that this is my team. It's not me. Right. So he has some advantages to him, but if
I'm not so much on how many jabs and how many right hooks, but more, should I be doing like a lot of individual pieces, Facebook posts, emails, blog posts? Should I just be doing as much as I possibly can?
Yes. And there's multiple reasons for why. Let the number of pieces of content per week be your North Star guide. But what you're going to find once you start doing this is, as a result of doing it, you're learning what's working, you're learning what's resonating, you're getting more feedback that you weren't getting before. More people are contacting you. They're aware that you exist now. You realize that this maybe works a little bit better than that. So huge yes to all. Huge yes to all of the above. Flood the zone.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. And great questions and great observations. All right, Marianne, you're up next. Go ahead, Marianne.
Okay, I have 2 quickies.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to have breakout rooms on this?
TBD, to be determined. Don't know yet. It's possible. Like we have so much to figure out. That's not like, ironed out yet. Just the new features and everything that's coming up, like which ones are we going to prioritize? What do you guys want the most? Like, do we run less webinars? Do we run? So we don't know yet. Everything's on the table though. That's what I would say.
No. To get technical help, we go into tech breakout rooms.
Yes. And they will get trained up with Art Helper, so they will be able to help you with it. At least in terms of that.
I have a little problem with changing the room mock-up. So I don't know how to do it once I find white furniture like you did. Really liked some of those. So, but then I didn't know how to get it into my thing, into the.
Yeah. So I can just answer that one really, really quickly because it's easy. I've got to share my screen so I can get Art Helper back up. Hold on. It's in this window. Oh, there's a lot of moving
I
pieces.
think it's important to say, just while Pat's doing that, we don't have support on Art Helper. Like, our support team is not trained up on Art Helper. So the best way to get, our attention with bugs or anything you're having trouble with is to submit that feedback. The overall goal of this product is so easy, anybody can use it, and we won't need as much support on Art Helper, right? It's like the goal is to make the product as good as possible and as intuitive. So we want to challenge ourselves from a product perspective first. Like, hey, can we just make this so easy that it's just magical to use, right? Just like an Apple iPhone.
So easy a caveman could do it.
That's right.
Where do you submit it if you do have an issue with it? Because my whole site today, pro site or beta site, was freezing on me too. Now, I think it was because there were so many people now getting onto it, but.
Yeah, that's why we're slow rolling it out. There's a little feedback button here that we'll show you once Pat shows you the.
Okay.
Yeah. So just watch my screen. So in terms of the mockups, all you're doing is just that little black arrow that appears in the upper right-hand corner. When you find one you like, you click download, and instantaneously it's getting downloaded directly to your computer. And so you've got it wherever your downloads go.
Computer, that's cool.
Yeah. And it takes 2 seconds and it's there, and you can grab as many or as little as you like, and use the ones you like, use the ones you don't. It's not rate limited. We do have this feedback section here, which is where we're asking, number one, for you guys to talk about features that you want to see so that they can get uploaded, and people can leave comments on them, but you can also throw bugs in there for now. I think we've been talking about what else to do, like where to make a community. We're contemplating Reddit. We have a Reddit page started. The community is going to do as much help in here as anyone else's, because they're the ones using it as much as anyone else is. And so, Reddit's no different than a Facebook group, and most of you, like a large amount of you guys are on it. So we think that like the community will likely help in these individual situations more than anything else. But most importantly, Mary, tech rule number one: when in doubt, restart. I sign out of it. I refresh the browser sometimes, and with all apps, that's just a huge help in these scenarios when it gets buggy or when something's not working the way that you think.
Okay, I have one more quickie.
Okay.
Do you think we should be changing all our product description again? Because I signed up in September for something for art storefronts that was like $3,000. One of the features I got was this.
The product descriptions. Yeah. If they're all done, I wouldn't necessarily go back, but I would leverage it. To do social media descriptions. And then if you really like the results, you can go back and, update a single product, but don't feel like you have this daunting task of that you need to go redo all of them all in one swatch.
Okay. Should I change my titles though? Because if somebody on the social media clicks on it and it's a different title than in my website, won't that screw up their
I mean, potentially, but the fact that you got the click is the amazing part, right? And you bring up a good question, and there's not an easy answer to it, but from a marketing strategy point, I wouldn't go back and I would consider those things are done for now. I would do my work on social media and see what happens. It's highly unlikely that they go from one to the other. They see a different title and they're like, that's it, I'm not going. Like once you catch their attention with the title, chances are they're hooked and you've got them. So Yeah.
So I only have one new painting because I just did all that, 22
Sure.
of them.
Sure.
So you want me to do my social media stuff with what's already up on art storefronts, right? On my
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay, that's my questions.
Okay.
I did
Thanks, Ray.
some-
All right, next up is Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sure can.
So this is kind of an observation of a hack that I discovered today. I was having trouble with Copilot trying to put designed room mock-ups up in my calendar. And I found that a lot of it was disabled.
Mhm.
And when I got on tech support this morning, they said, well, yeah, the piece has to be listed, has to be in your warehouse in order for you to include it as a mock-up. And I was like, oh, okay. So now new stuff that I have, but I have to go through the process of putting it in the warehouse before I can use a room mock-up until you showed us this today.
Yeah.
Because now I can just go into here, download it like you just showed her, and be able to put it up into Copilot and get the mock-ups of my choice immediately for brand new stuff that I just shot that I want to put up quickly and get out there. So I just wanted to make that observation because it wasn't apparent in tech support that was a viable solution, which goes back, I think, to what was said before, that they're not all, everybody isn't all trained up yet.
Yeah.
So we're all kind of helping each other out here. So I just want to make the observation as well.
Yeah, and not everybody's trained up yet based on how quickly we're moving. Just plan for that to be the norm, you guys. Plan for that to be the norm, because I mean it's been absolutely wild. And again, like Brandon and I have talked about this, but the way that Art Helper has been architected, just by virtue of the fact that Art Storefronts is 10 years old and Art Helper is about 3 months old. So technology changes the way that it does. And why am I telling you this? Because it's so new and because it's been built so intelligently, and by virtue of the fact that technology has evolved so fast, we now have the ability to get new things in the water at like an absolutely alarming pace. Think of like, it's kind of like when I used to write guides for Facebook. I would write a guide, and by the time I hit published, they had changed everything. And it's like, this is just a fool's errand. Like, I spent 4 hours on that, and now they've moved all these boxes around, right? And we're gonna be in that scenario with Art Helper, period, going forward. So I think we all need to retrain ourselves on just saying like, okay, hack at it, figure it out. It's also why we're going to need a group where everyone's in, where everyone can share their newest recipes and the new things that they've learned and everything else. And you kind of just fight through the frustrations of how it was, because whatever we keep releasing in here, it's just gonna make you guys move even faster. But great hack, and thank you for that, Jim.
You're welcome.
Yep. Okay, Hava, go ahead.
Hi. So I'm really interested in like how you hack it to do what you wanted to do.
Yes.
And I've been trying to do that too. And so one of the things that I used to use Gemini a lot for, that I would rather use Art Helper, is to help me write an email or a post, not about a specific art piece, but either, some other kind of news, like that I got published in a magazine, or about my process and so on. So I've tried that with the blog, and it was a trial and error. And I was hoping maybe if you already had some ideas, like
no, it's a great feature too. Like, Brandon, maybe you can speak to this. It's like, should there be a spark in there that is just normal off the shelf AI, without any bells and whistles and without any of our specific training. I've actually been thinking about that myself too, Hava, for like, one-off tasks, or, it's late at night and, you're working on your stuff and you're doing product titles, you're doing social media updates, you're doing whatever it is. And then you randomly have like a question that an AI could help you ask. You should be able to just type it in there, and get that response. Right. So that's a great feature request. And will you please put that in the feedback? I know you know how to do that.
Oh yeah, I will.
And I will vote it up and comment on it.
For now, like just a couple of questions, like, so what I've been doing is I will just put randomly like one of the artworks that sort of corresponds to what I'm doing. And my question is that prompt, because there's a there's a custom, there's that, so there's custom rules, there's the suggestions, but there's also the description that you can put in the artwork. And I'm wondering, that kind of prompt, where is the best place to put it? Or should I mean,
Put it here. So I did this with the tips email. The tips email is kind of in a similar like vein of what you're talking
Okay.
about. Like, don't talk just about the art, but I want to talk about something else. So we'll have more emails like this.
okay.
I just wrote down your suggestion, but I kind of hacked this one. So what I said, I'll just go back to the history here. So I said, try again, but talk about my latest feature in Art Magazine, right? And so it wrote, hey there, I'm excited to blah, 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 rather your personal style. So this is like writing about like color theory or whatever, but like it's adding in, that I was featured in Art Magazine. And you just give it more context here. Custom rules is like only if you wanted to follow that suggestion every single time you open up that particular Spark.
Yeah, I was kind of hacking custom rules to suit my one-off presentation needs
That's
rather than best practices earlier.
I guess that was my main question, is like, where can I put those custom things that it will, produce the best results? As opposed to like, if I had something like that, like that I can put on whatever image I'm using, like, could I put in the description, this image is just, a selection of paintings that I would like to talk about in my email. If I do that as a description, will that help it write?
Yeah, just put it here, and I was just hack at it on this tips email one.
Mhm.
And then we can work on a Spark that's a little bit more. Some of these Sparks are heavy-handed with like fine tuning, and you were part of some of that, right? Like
Yeah.
the social posts and product descriptions. Sometimes they're a little bit harder to like customize, and we're changing some of that up to where they're more customizable. But the other thing, kind of what Pat was alluding to, is just like having a open chat, like the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
Make whatever you want,
Well, and this is the other question, is like, so it learns, the more I use it, the more it learns my style, right? Or does it like use what I had for a blog post or an email or another painting? Will it learn and get more and more like how I, my art style?
Yeah, the goal is that the more you feed it, the more it sort of becomes, like everything has
Customized.
memory, right? So
Okay.
like it's constantly updating your memory, and we're saving that for you.
That's amazing. Yeah, because Gemini doesn't do that.
No, and then you get logged out, and then it misses the thing. They're all that way, and then starts hallucinating.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Saba. Okay, it'll go Linda and Scott, and then we'll wrap up for today. Linda, go ahead.
I'm so glad to be able to be in this and ask you these questions live, because I keep on putting some of these things in small wins, and I've just now done some stuff in chat. And the first thing is, in the feedback section, I can't give you feedback, but the feedback's not working because it won't let me go in. I've only used it once now, and there are a whole bunch of questions about that. But so I did all these Sparks, and then I went to go give feedback, and it said, well, you need to log in to give feedback. And then I'm like, really? I'm logged in.
What device were you on?
Mac. I mean, on my computer, on my Mac computer.
Was it like in a incognito window or anything?
We got to look. We actually got to look at that, Brandon, because that's happened to me a couple of times too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm glad we're talking about this. What do you mean by an incognito window?
Don't even get into it. We'll look into it. It's happening to me. Yeah. Done.
Okay.
Done.
So anyway, so I went in to log in again, which made no sense. And I gave it the same information I do, art storefronts, and what I logged into Art Helper, and it rejected me. And I tried numerous times just in case there was a typo, and it kept rejecting me.
Okay.
So I couldn't
We-
ever
we
give
would-
feedback.
I see Tim also shaking his head. We've actually already got that bug in from your feedback in this session already to the devs.
Thank
So
you.
they're already looking at it.
Okay, good. And so Tim was nodding that
Yeah.
you said so. And Patrick, you said you
Yeah.
had an issue. So,
Yep.
so what do I do with feedback when I can't give feedback until it's fixed?
Just imagine it and it will magically appear in our heads and we will fix it, Linda.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, so then I have got a couple things if I can remember. Oh, so thanks to the guys in tech or Copilot, I guess it was, who introduced me to using Grammarly. First of all, I'd like to say my husband, he doesn't know I got this yet, but he's like, could you get them to help you with the way you write?
Mhm.
Because he's a grammar,
Yep.
it's like whatever. And I'm like, well, we'll talk about that later. But as I'm looking at stuff and I'm getting stuff from the Art Helper, my Grammarly is jumping in there and wanting to correct things. I think it's Grammarly. It is Grammarly because I get the Grammarly icon.
Yep.
So now Grammarly is like saying,
It's an AI battle. AI versus AI.
a grammar battle.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if other people were getting that or if Grammarly's like, but so that makes me even more confused then. And then, okay, so the only way to upload an image is by taking an image and uploading it. The image already has a name. Unless it will backtrack. Patrick, you just did lifted from somebody's Instagram account.
Yes.
How did you do that? You just did a copy paste?
There's a Chrome plugin that lets you do it.
So other people can steal your stuff that way also then?
Yeah. Any image that's on the internet is downloadable in 2 seconds by anyone that knows. And that's just how it
Right.
goes. But that's okay.
So I'm saying that as a precedent, but I'm
Yeah.
taking an image that is not on the internet, not on anywhere, but it's in my computer. And so of course the file has a name.
Yes.
So this is if it's just like a spit out of the computer, keeping that name, it would have no information. I know the only one I did was with a purple flower, which is called a borage
Mhm.
flower, and a bee. So it was great because I had given it some specific information, and then I have the file number. But that's just my brain. I have the name and a file number.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's great because then it fed, this is feedback, then it fed it. It's not just saying a purple flower. How is it going to know if that purple flower is from a borage plant? I mean, it's not
In some cases, the AI will pick it up. In some cases, you'll have to prompt it and tell it. It just depends. On some photos, it's really scary accurate, right? Like scary accurate. Like it knows, like I said, like kingdom, division, class, order, family, genus, species. Other times, you'll have to tell it if it's abstract in any capacity. But yeah, that's
so
what.
I'll try it with something without a name, just a file number, and see what happens. But I was so impressed with that.
It's amazing.
and I
It's
thought that
amazing.
was-
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's insane. And a lot of times you don't even know what the thing is, right? Because if you're just out and about and you're in a photography capacity or what the case may be. So it's so powerful for learning. I mean, I routinely take my phone, you guys, and take photos of whatever it is and say, what is this? To find out what it is. And it's like, not to go too far down the gardening rabbit hole, but like I took a photo of a plant. It had a pest on it. I said, identify the pest. And then it said, what is the best way to eradicate this pest? And then I went and bought the stuff at Home Depot and I sprayed it all over and it's done. Like, that's insane. That's insane. Like what a link. But anyway, we got to get going, Linda. Quick.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Scott, you'll be the final one for today. And I'm sorry for going long, you guys. I could talk about this all day, but I want to be sensitive to you guys' time. Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Thank you for putting this together. You guys are actually making me better than I am.
Oh, thanks,
Um,
man. Thanks for saying that.
I'm going to change direction a little bit. I was playing around with the Art Helper and unlocking the Sparks. I noticed that you can do it by referral.
Mhm.
And I wanted to get some more ideas on this referral. Who can we refer? Do they have to be an ASF member to use this? And will this referral deal go on after the release?
So
If that makes sense.
the referral thing is remnants of the beta sort of environment.
Okay.
You can invite non-ASF folks as well, and they can, those are kind of be your personal invites. And then come January, those will all be unlocked for you when we release. Like we're going to inject yours with like the pro version. So
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it is. I noticed that there were some other features like the transaction fees and things like that. The more that you referred, will that still be in place?
Yes. Some of the rewards.
Mhm.
Yep. We're planning on, so long term, what I'm trying to do with that feature that we're testing in beta is I want to have some fun games with some sparks.
We got to have fun. We got to have fun.
There might be like, in February where you can unlock, like we may create some fun Valentine sparks that you can unlock with actions. It doesn't have to be referrals, but whatever, right? Like it's like, go share this and you'll unlock blah, right? And it'll be limited time only sparks, like just fun stuff. So that's kind of what that feature is testing right now.
Okay, I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun. Thanks.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Brandon. This will be recorded. You guys will get it in the vault. There was Norma saying normally the minute you signed up, you got an email and it has a PDF in it. Is there a solution for the folks that are not getting that email, Brandon, or is it going to their spam, or like what is the quick fix?
You get it right after you check out, so it's right there, downloadable. And then check your email. It's an automated email from checkout. So if you're not getting it, if you don't get that PDF, please check first if you did get it. And then if you didn't, just email customer service and we have that packet for you with the link and everything.
Yeah. Brandon, thanks for the time, guys. Thanks everybody for being here. We are going to have another one. I'm going to have to figure out what to shift the content to. Well, look, we're all just learning. We're all just learning and figuring this thing out as we go and building it in public and everything else. So the feedback has been great.
Real quick, Pat,
Yeah, go.
I wanted to show everyone how powerful the AI is.
Yeah.
So I went and just took a random borage flower and
Linda's going to be all fired up.
yeah, but here it goes. Just had to share this stunning borage flower that caught my eye. So check it out, guys. Go play with it, push it to its limits, and definitely share your excitement and anything that surprises you guys.
All righty. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.